Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris. I am a musician in the Los Angeles area. Specifically, I specialize in saxophone, though of course I do tend to play other instruments when I need to. And I also use my channel kind of as a vlog style channel and as well as a style based channel. So today I'm actually doing something slightly different with my outfit. So normally with this medium gray suit, I would pair a red shirt with a red tie. I've been wearing that same outfit for the last 4 years. I can probably share a photo or two with you to show you what I'm talking about, but I wanted to change things up. So right now I'm actually wearing my sky blue Joseph Boots shirt with a new red tie that I was going to wear fairly recently, but that didn't wind up happening, unfortunately, due to all the circumstances that are happening right now. Additionally, I am trying out my new collar stays, and right now I'm not disappointed because my collar is not going out all over the place and it's actually splaying out very nicely. Look at that, my collar is actually standing at attention. So you may be looking at the title of today's video, and yes, finally I am going to try out the 3 shoes I mentioned in a previous video: the Allen Edmonds Park Avenues, the Allen Edmonds Hopkinsons, and the Alden 907 Black Cap Toe Oxfords, the straight tip Balmoral Oxford. So I'm getting these shoes essentially to replace my 3-year-old Joseph Boots shoes. I had to get these as an emergency purchase because I accidentally forgot my black dress shoes when I went to Portland for a performance. You can actually see a couple of those performance videos I posted on my channel, and I will link those up around here somewhere. I'm forgetting which side it is, so excuse me. But if you take a look, yeah, it's got a box toe. I mean, do I like the fact that it's a slip-on and I can get it on easily? Yeah, of course, but the fact of the matter is I need to get something that's actually a little more worth my time, a little more worth my money. So, for someone my own age, I thought, you know what, I think it's time I start getting into this, because if I don't drop this money now, dropping it later is probably going to be a little harder. And additionally, if I can have something that'll last my life now, I'm not going to fret with it later. And that's where these 3 pairs of shoes come on in. Also, I apologize for the audio. I was hoping to use my microphone, but unfortunately for this unboxing and trial video, I will not be using my brand new microphone you saw in a recent video. So without further ado, let's unbox my new shoes. So this is my Park Avenue. Let's open this guy up. So, oh, they sent me the complete wrong shoes. I should have checked that. I mean, do these look like Park Avenues to you? And trust me when I say this, these boxes were completely untouched, so I'm actually kind of frustrated right now. That's okay, because I actually did wind up trying out some Park Avenues a few months back before everything went down in February, so I did wind up trying a pair of Park Avenues at that time, so I do kind of remember what they feel like. But that does frustrate me. Oh, I see. Nice. Lovely Allen Edmonds. I'll be sure to send that back angrily. Moving on to the next box. This should be the Allen Edmonds Hopkinson. And hey, they nailed this one. Side of the box, everyone. That's why it's there. Whew. That was in there a little tight. So, box got a little beat up, but that's nothing too much to worry about. So, Look at this guy. Oh wow! Look at the branding they actually put in. They changed it up a little bit for this one. Nice. Oh. And on the heel, they actually put their 1922 stamp right there. How about that? What a change up for these shoes. Can't wait to try these on. So that's the Hopkinson. And last but not least, let's unbox my Aldens. So, in case you're wondering about this box, no, that wasn't me. That's all UPS. And I swear, UPS, if you're paying attention to this, you need to better make sure that this kind of shit doesn't happen. 907s, boxes upside down. 907, 13 feet. Shoe bags, perfect. And lo and behold, the Aldens. One thing that the Shoe Mart is very good about is that they actually provide you with a new shoehorn in case you don't have one. So, if you don't know how to try out dress shoes, the Shoe Mart does have a very informative video on how to do that. You want to make sure that you are testing these shoes out on carpet and nothing else, because the fact of the matter is that if you're not careful, you are going to scuff the leather soles. And in order to make sure that they are sent back brand new, you want to make sure that even the leather soles haven't been messed up. So, without further ado, let's try out these shoes. So I've got myself all ready to go. I got these shoes all laced up, and I did it using the bar lacing method. So I'll kind of go over a few things that I liked about the shoes in my last video. So the one thing I liked about the Hopkinsons was actually the tighter waist that you get, even compared to the Aldens, which are a more expensive shoe. So I'm not sure you can see that. Let me get the right Hopkinson shoe. Like you can see, the Hopkinson has a bit of a tighter waist. The Hopkinson is also said to be a comfort product, so I'm actually excited to see how that feels. The Alden also has a bit more hard countering. Like I can't even press down on this toe cap. Neither can I in the arch or the heel. The Hopkinson does have heel support, some arch support, but the toe cap is kind of gushy, which is not good long term if you are not careful, because one thing some people have talked about before in some horror stories is that they get toe cap creasing, and I want to stay away from that as much as possible. So, if I didn't say already, I have a size 13B foot when I last got measured at Allen Edmonds, and both of these shoes that I have, I was supposed to be 3 pairs again, so that was completely undoctored footage that I'm sharing with you. First unboxings of each, so you saw exactly what I did. First and foremost, I didn't touch any of the boxes on purpose, so that way we could all see the unboxing together. But without further ado, let me try out the Hopkinsons. So again, make sure you're trying your brand new leather dress shoes on carpet, and when you put them on, make sure you have a shoe horn, so that way you are not jacking the you're not jacking the heels up when you're trying the shoes out, especially if you want to send them back. So without further ado, let us try the Hopkinsons on. So you want to make sure that your shoes are open enough so that way your feet can slide in. Get your foot in there, make sure the tongue doesn't go down too far, so that way the tongue stays in there. Good, I don't have a lot of excess room, so the people at Allen Edmonds, when they measured me to be a 13B, was correct. I don't, because with leather dress shoes you want to make sure that you don't have a lot of excess room, so I maybe have a little bit of squish right here in the vamp, but that's because if you look at my foot, I actually don't have a very normal arch. My foot is very narrow and it actually kind of sweeps very low. So I probably have a much narrower foot than most average people out there, but I'm so glad I have a 13B because this is actually quite an appropriate fit. And after so many years of wearing dress shoes, I'm very happy to say that I now have a proper fitting dress shoe after today. So I'm just going to go with a regular knot. I'm not going to go with anything overcomplicated. Sorry, Kirby. You may be my inspiration, but I'm not going to go with a Parisian or a Berluti knot today. Not while I'm trying these things on. So now let's walk around in these things. So upon first standing up, let's get the Aldens out of the way really quickly. So upon first standing up, these are really comfortable in the foot. My foot is barely sliding around, and let me show you again. I have maybe just a little bit of excess room, but compared to some of the other shoes where it's like you could see me actually squish the shoe and I barely have any room, and I have a lot of excess room, this is actually really nice for me. Like, I'm very happy that I'm gonna be a proud owner of one of these shoes. So yeah, well, let's kind of walk around. Something else the Shoe Mart recommends is that on top of walking around on carpet, that you barely flex, so that way there's no creasing in the vamp. And I'll show you that right now. So give me 1 second. So you want to be a little more conservative. You kind of want to lift your whole foot up in the process of doing this. I'm just going to walk around back and forth, but I have to say, goddamn, when they say this is a comfort product, they weren't kidding. I actually compared to the Allen Edmonds, from what I remember back in February, this actually has a little more squish, a good kind of a squish in the heel, because the heel is actually going to be the one area where you feel everything most, and that's not because of the combo stack. It's actually because of what's inside. It's the insole itself. So it's a bit more of a nicer calf skin. It's also the inner lining is also done in lambskin, so it's actually a lot more comfortable than the Park Avenue is. And I have to say, let me do a little more walking, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. So everyone, first impressions of the Hopkinson. They are actually really comfortable. Again, I'm not a big fan of the squishiness in the toe cap, because ultimately that can inevitably cause toe cap creasing, which I don't want to see happen on my shoes later. But I have to say, I am getting ample support here in my arch. There is a bit squish, but you don't want it to go all the way up. You just want to be right under your arch to support. And even with the thinner beveled waist, you know what? I can walk around fairly comfortable in these and not really complain about this. And of course, my foot isn't wiggling around in here, so that's automatically a good thing, because even if your foot's wiggling back and forth, which unfortunately I have with one of the pairs of shoes I just happened to get earlier this year, which unfortunately are way too big for me, and even more ironically, they're also size 13, so I don't know how that wound up happening. But overall, I'm very pleased with these things. So now let's try out the Alden 907s. So before I try out the Aldens, I will mention again a few of the things that I mentioned earlier and in my previous video. I do like the solid toe cap, meaning I'm not going to worry about toe cap creasing. The heel feels really supportive, and so does the arch area. This is more of an English style shoe. The only big thing about Aldens that I will say is kind of gaudy is the welt itself. It is a bit gaudy even when compared to the Allen Edmonds. If we look a little more closely, like the Aldens, I feel is a little more gaudy when it comes to the welt, but I'm not gonna be entirely complaining when I'm spending even just $600 on these things. Are there shoes that are better for my feet for a better price? There likely are, but again, for my narrow feet, I have a size 13B, as in boy, meaning I don't have an average size foot. And with most affordable shoe brands out there that sell these kinds of things, it's harder to find my size because they will sell the average width and they won't sell the accommodating widths for anyone else. And that's why I like Allen Edmonds and Alden. They are two of the companies that sell shoes that can accommodate for my narrower foot. So without further ado, let's give these guys a try. Ooh, already going into this, I can feel the support difference in the heel area. Ooh! Did you hear that? Ooh! I heard that suction of air just kind of come out of the shoe. That's something you would get typically on a bespoke shoe, funny enough, which everyone who buys bespoke shoes actually really adores. But I just got that little puff of air coming out of the shoe that I didn't get with the Hopkinsons, which let's see if you can hear it. I'll be quiet. Like that motion didn't come from the horn. It did come from my foot sliding in, meaning that it was a big pressure difference between this and these. So let's tie these up. Give them a try. So you see how when I press on the sides of the vamp here that there's not a lot of excess room. Now again, here right in the front of the shoe I do have a little bit of excess because my foot is, again, not only narrower but a little lower than most, so my foot is probably more accommodating when it comes to loafers, because loafers tend to be lower profile. But I'm not complaining because this is my first real investment into quality shoes, so let's make sure this guy is correctly adjusted. Sweet. Wow. Already I can feel a big difference. Not necessarily in the front of the shoe, but towards the back of the shoe I can feel a big difference. Like my foot definitely feels like it's sitting on something a little comfier, and I think that's because of how the 270 degree welted shoes are made, where heels have to be done where nails have to go through the shoe, rather than with the Allen Edmonds on a 360, the nails can actually go through the top and they will barely touch the heel. And that's what makes Allen Edmonds and most other 360 degree welted shoes unique compared to 270 degree welted shoes, which you will generally see on most dress shoes. So let's give these guys a little walking trial. Let me make sure I adjust my camera so that way you can see me coming walking around. So again, don't crease the vamp. Make sure you are walking a little more conservatively. Wow, yeah, I can already feel a bit bigger difference. Like, I'm not a fan of the more solid front of the shoe, right where the ball of my foot is, but I can't entirely complain because these shoes are not broken in yet. So once they're broken in, my foot will probably be sitting in these a little more comfortably, but the heel, I can feel a massive difference in comparison to the Hopkinson. Overall, the Hopkinson does have a more comfy insole, but the heel is, again, the one thing your foot needs, the one thing you are standing on most. When you're standing on your foot, most of the weight is on the heel, and particularly on a dress shoe, because we have the heels, we are less likely to be on the balls of our feet, and more likely to be on our heels if we're just standing somewhere for a long period of time. But I will say, as someone who stands up all the time playing music, you do want to make sure that you are in a more comfortable position, and typically that does mean you're using the balls of your foot a little more instead of your heels. But again, your whole foot is vital. So again, let me give these another few more minutes of trying out, and I'll come back with my final verdict. So what's my final verdict for this whole video? I like both the Aldens and the Hopkinsons. I do remember really liking the Allen Edmonds when I first went in back at the end of February to try them out. I think one of the things I didn't necessarily like about the Park Avenues was that the insole was a little stiffer, and so of course that mandated the 24-hour break-in period. And that doesn't mean just one day of use. No, it actually means 24 hours of wearing the shoes themselves. The shoes themselves have to be worn for 24 hours, and I actually heard that from a Sartorial Talks video. So if you're ever curious about the break-in time of a good dress shoe, it is 24 hours of actual wear on your foot. Not 24 hours one day, 24 hours of wear on your feet. Going back to the Hopkinsons, I really loved the lambskin lining. My God, it is super comfortable, and I'll give it to the clip I used in my last video where Kennard in Nashville actually talks about these on a Trenton Heath video. The lambskin lining really does make these shoes ultra comfortable. And even walking around in these without any sort of break-in, these were definitely the most comfortable shoes I had ever tried out. Like I could talk about my loafers, the ones that I was talking about earlier that have a lot of excess room, and I just physically cannot wear them because my feet wiggle around in them, because it's like I'm riding in a boat on those things. They move around, and last I remember, dress shoes aren't supposed to do that. And to top it off, the Hopkinson is a bit more of a sleeker design when compared to the Hopkinson. It is actually inspired by the Park Avenue, so I will give that to Allen Edmonds in their dedication to the craft on the Independence collection. It is definitely a somewhat sleeker version of the Park Avenue. Is it worth the $530 when not on sale? That's ultimately up to you. For the lambskin lining and really minimal to no break-in period, even though you still have to go through the 24-hour break-in period, I really think this is a good option for you if you want to stick with Allen Edmonds. Again, my only gripe, I have two big gripes after having tried these shoes on, is that the toe cap isn't stiff enough, so you may wind up with toe cap creasing at some point if you are not careful about that. And then also here, right around your ankles, there is a lot of excess leather. So when I was actually looking straight down at my feet when I was trying those shoes on, the fact of the matter is that it looks like there was just like maybe a few millimeters of wiggle room on those shoes when compared to the Aldens, where I have zero wiggle room in those when it comes to being right around my ankle. To top it off, the Aldens also, if you didn't hear it, did have that little rush of air come out of the shoe when I put my foot into them. And that is craft. They have been dedicated to making sure that their quality is still solid, and that I will say Preston Soto pointed out is why Alden is rarely put on sale, because they are so dedicated to their quality control. Do they function the same as Allen Edmonds in terms of the factory setting? Absolutely. You look for Alden factory videos, you can find them. They are harder to find, but they are fairly similar to Allen Edmonds factory videos in how they go about things. But again, I think one of the things that I mentioned about Alden that they do better than Allen Edmonds is quality control, because Allen Edmonds puts out a whole lot of shoes, 5,000 a week if I remember the number correctly. So invariably, when you have a 2%, 3%, 4% return turnover, over time that does turn out to be a whole bunch of shoes and a whole bunch of customers that do get frustrated with the company because of that turnover. Alden, you are probably going to get less of it, but you don't see too many reviews online very often. So if I'm not making my opinion very clear about this video and from the last video, I'm going with the Alden 907s as my first official dress shoe purchase. I really do like how it rushes out the amount of support I get in my heel, the amount of support I get in my arch, the stiff toe cap. This is more of an aesthetics thing that I'm going to point out, the 5 eyelets, which is more of a European English style. And just overall, it's really quality. Like I said, the gaudy welt is something that is a little bit of a turnoff, but for $565 pre-tax, wherever you're getting it from. So for $565 before tax, before shipping, so wherever you're getting it from, make sure you account for those. I really think this is a worthwhile purchase for me. Could I have spent a little less on Allen Edmonds Park Avenues? Yes, but I really wanted to make sure that if I was already going to spend around $400 just for Allen Edmonds Park Avenues, that I did hash out some other options that also fit my foot exactly the same. Now, exactly the same is definitely subjective, but by that I mean in terms of the size. These are 13Bs, so again, make sure you get your size, make sure you get measured. If you're getting a US shoe, make sure you check against a Brannock device. With the socks, you are going to try out the shoes. Otherwise, you will have some excess room in those shoes later, because trust me, when I tried out those loafers I was talking about earlier, I did wear athletic socks at the time, and I wound up getting bit in the butt later because I have a lot of excess room that I didn't have with the athletic sock that I do with a dress sock. So make sure you have some good over-the-calf socks. I did get these from Allen Edmonds, so Allen Edmonds does provide some quality things. The only unfortunate thing is that I'm already going to have to stitch the toe up, because for some reason I have a terrible record of doing that with all my socks respectively. But anyway, yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on me trying out the Hopkinsons and the Aldens. I really would have loved to have tried out the Park Avenues again, but again, I think I can base my experience from the end of February in this video, because I do vaguely remember how things went. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to check out more videos like this. I do hope to do more, however infrequent they may be. So again, if you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends, and I will catch you guys in the next video.